I wake up in the morning and I ask myself and then our team that what can we do to make people's lives better? Okay, so I think as a leader, if you would use that as a leverage to sort of innovate or be inspired to do whatever, it will help you more than getting frustrated or thinking about how is my retention going or how do I, we don't think about that. We're always focused on how can we make them love us more.
Turn around. Turning point. Yeah. He's a turnaround. Hello and welcome to Springboard of Virtual University. My name is Albert Ocran. Welcome you to Ghana's foremost developmental program and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. Our partners are MTN Ghana, the Enterprise Group, and the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between Mastercard Foundation and Springboard. We are supported in the media by Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News Television, and the Graphic Group of newspapers. You can also find our content on the Springboard channel, curated, packaged, and designed for your continuous consumption. So we continue our conversations with women in leadership, women blazing the trail and doing great stuff in different areas of endeavor. Did you know that the global hair care market, the hair market, is valued at $119 billion? Now, those figures, those kinds of figures make you think again and then change your prayer topic. I'm speaking today to somebody who works very much in that space, a leader in that space, the CEO of Hair Senta, the founder and CEO of Hair Senta, my friend Gwen Addo. Gwen, good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Albert. I'm so happy.
It's been a while.
Yes.
What has been happening since we last met? Great stuff.
Oh, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
This month is dedicated to women. We are, as part of our extended celebration of the International Women's Day, we are exploring the theme of women in leadership, especially against the backdrop of the theme Give to Gain, which is the centerpiece focus of this year's International Women's Day. What do you think of the theme Give to Gain? Sounds
I think it's absolutely wonderful. Give to gain. And I mean, if you look at how transactional we are as humans, it probably will excite people because sometimes we even give without thinking about what we're going to gain. But to think now you're not just giving, but you're gaining something back, I think is truly insightful and it would excite anyone who hears about it.
I mean, just reading around the literature, it would seem that the focus areas are generosity and then collaboration. Last week, I just threw in a couple more, just my own. I mean, I'm wondering who gave me the power to add on to a theme. But I thought that once we are discussing generosity and discussing collaboration, we must discuss also intentionality. How big is intentionality to you as a person? Intentionality.
I think intentionality is very important. Why I say that is because, with what I do, I sit on social media a lot. So I'm always using digital platforms. Now that exposes me to so many things where if I'm not very focused, number one, it's going to be hard for me to be intentional about anything because there's a plethora of information, there's a plethora of options. So I think we need to be intentional, but you cannot be intentional, Albert, if you don't have a plan. So I think once this conversation goes along, we'll speak more about it. But I absolutely think intentionality is key.
Let's talk about plan. Let's talk about intentionality against the backdrop of that first big move, leaving your corporate job in banking and then setting out to build in the beauty industry. Was it the figures? Was it the impact? Was it the attraction? Was it the dare to dream? What was the big push?
Okay, so I grew up in quite an entrepreneurial home. My mom was a trader. My dad was a businessman, always coming up with something new. So I was exposed to that. And I always say that we're byproducts of what we get exposed to. So naturally, I was inclined towards entrepreneurship. However, I found myself in banking and I was in there doing what I ought to do, not what I naturally desired to do. And so it was very natural that in the course of, I think, 8 years, I found myself leaning towards starting my own business. But I didn't not just get up and then quit or get frustrated by the banking system. What happened was I started small. So I ordered some few pieces of hair. I started testing it on my colleagues. I saw how it was going. And then I planned and said, you know what, maybe I can actually do this as a full-time job. Of course, that was very daring. That needed a lot of audacity because who leaves corporates to go and sell hair? I mean, the numbers that you're mentioning now are what we know now. But prior to that, years ago, those numbers were not something we knew about. And so hair and beauty was not something that was exciting that you leave your corporate job for.
Why hair?
Why hair? Well, how do I even answer this without exposing myself?
It looks good on you, but just tell me, was it demand driven? Was it
Okay.
opportunity driven?
Okay, a little bit of both. So first of all, I always say that you don't start a business thinking about profits. It's a wrong way to do it. I had seen that there was a problem. There were people, number one, who did not have much hair. And so naturally,
Like me.
and it suits you. And they were skewed towards getting extensions. And then there were also others who wanted options. You know, women today, we want to be Beyonce, tomorrow Oprah. Next day we look at what Gifty Auntie has on and we think we want to do that. We always want to explore different things. And so I think I tapped into that, number one, and I tapped into my own need. And of course, I saw the opportunity that was in there and I hopped on it. And don't forget also, at the time, people were not focused on building a brand. So that was where I saw the gap. And I said, you know what, maybe I could build a brand around hair, where when you think hair, you will think Hair Senta. So that's what I ventured out to do.
So the name choice was influenced by that brand
Yes.
orientation.
Yes.
What else was What else influenced? What else reflected that brand orientation apart from the name choice?
I mean, for me, I look at where we find ourselves now. Okay, a lot of times we start businesses and we're just focused, like I said before, on just selling. I was focused on building something beyond me. So I said, you know what? I am going to build something around excellence, around consistency, around something that people can actually build trust around. And so I think that really was what drove me. What kind of impact can I build or can I make through the brand that I build?
Let me bring Give to Gain
Yes.
into the brand, because you talked about excellence, you talked
Yes.
about giving
Consistency.
consistency in giving. When you hear Give to Gain and you juxtapose that against Hair Center, would you say giving has been part of your journey? And if so, what do you give to your clients? How can we understand giving from the context of Hair Center?
Okay, so I would look at it from an industry standpoint. Okay, so when we look at what happened during COVID, for example, there were many hairdressers who were, replaced or felt, well, there was nothing they could do at the moment because people were not coming so close to have their hair installed and all of that. So they were home. So what we, the Hair Center, did, because remember, we're not a salon, what we do is we provide the product and then the service providers, which are the hairdressers, use it for their work. So we went to them, reached out to them, gave them food, we did all kinds of packages for them. We gave them some money and sort of made them know that we cared and we knew this too shall pass. Now,
That was audacious.
yes, thank you. And now, from a client perspective, I think what we also give our clients is convenience. Okay, we don't compete. I always tell my staff that we're not competing with other products. We're competing with customer experience. So how well can we create something that the clients will feel, you know what, I want to do business here? Because if you look around you, everybody is selling something that is pretty much similar to what you have. So what really is your USP? And for us, our USP has been creating convenience for the client, building trust for them, because now people don't want to part with their money and find out they've purchased something that will not work. Also, our return policy, which apparently is not something that's very common around here, has also encouraged a lot of people, because here they know when they buy from the Hair Center and somehow it does not work, they can confidently return it. And that has built trust over the years for us.
There are two schools of thought about return, about that extra cost that comes with ensuring that the customer experience doesn't have any dissonance. Some say, listen, I'll play it safe. You buy, you've bought. When you leave, it's up to you. Others say, let me be with you throughout the experience. If something happens, I take responsibility, like the return thing. Looking back after having done it for a while, that's like giving to gain.
Yeah.
Having done it for a while, would you say that it has paid off for you?
Absolutely, Albert. It's paid off. You see, when you're looking at strategy, you need to look at retention strategy and acquisition strategy and understand that they go hand in hand. A lot of times we focus on acquisition. But retention is also very important because imagine being able to retain clients and then having the chance to acquire new ones. You grow your portfolio and then, of course, your market share. So for us, that has definitely given us a high ROI. And if you look at how over the years, a business like this, with the influx of so many competitors on the market, has still remained relevant and still has people that come in at 1 a.m., 12 a.m. to wait 8 to 9 hours for the stores to open for a sale. It's been an incredible journey, and they are doing this because they know we're giving something to them and they're gaining something in return. And people want to survive and thrive. So people are interested in brands that are focused on, number one, enabling them to survive and enabling them to do well, which is what we do.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
I'm enjoying it.
As you spoke, I tell you what I was thinking of you saying.
Tell me.
So here I am.
Yes.
I'm a pastor.
Yes.
I pastor a church. So you're talking about acquisition strategy. And I say, okay, so I preach the gospel. People come to church. Then you talk about retention strategy. And I'm thinking of the effort we put into ensuring that they are comfortable. They feel that, this is so different from everywhere else. This is a great time. I'm just thinking last Sunday, some folks came in with a family that was coming for Thanksgiving. And I spent time with them after the service. Wow. They just were so happy. I give them Bibles. Wow. And they're like, isn't like that always here? We would like to stay here. I'm like, yeah, it's a retention strategy. Retention. And when you use ROI, I started calculating. So what's often here? ROI in a day. But that's just on the lighter side.
Oh, thank you.
But I can relate so much, Gwen, to what you're saying and the intentionality of it. Remaining relevant in a competitive business environment must be the big thing that CEOs spend days, minutes, hours, and years reflecting on. Is that a centerpiece of your reflection as a leader?
Retaining. For me, retention is not what I think about. I think about how, of course, it has
relevance, remaining relevant and remaining at the cutting edge.
Yes. And I think for me, I wake up in the morning and I ask myself and then our team that what can we do to make people's lives better? Okay, so I think as a leader, if you would use that as a leverage to sort of innovate or be inspired to do whatever, it will help you more than getting frustrated or thinking about how is my retention going or how do I, we don't think about that. We're always focused on how can we make them love us more. Okay, because we are people-centered company. We're always focused on both our internal customers, that is our staff, and our external customers. We have a family culture, and then we want to extend that towards the people that do business with us. So we are just focused on how can we make you happy. And that is why we're more flexible than a lot of hair companies, because we're not transactional.
This is Springboard Virtual University, and in case you just joined us, this is one of our conversations that you have to listen to and learn from. You should be writing down notes by now because we're talking about women in leadership, and we are talking about giving to gain. And Gwen Addo is my guest for today, CEO of Hair Senta. And we're talking about that industry that you may look at fleetingly and turn away, but look again because that's a big player on the global stage. And Gwen is saying that the centerpiece of the conversation on a daily, weekly, monthly basis is how to make you, the client, happier. Maybe you need to revise your strategy and think about making others happy. Once you do, they would also make you happy in return. Is that the philosophy?
That is the philosophy. That is the philosophy. Right. How can we make them happy?
Right. There's a scripture that says, cast your bread upon the waters and you find it after many days. So the happiness that comes from the client, is it after many days or after a short while?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
After many days or once they are happy, they're staying with you right now.
Oh,
right?
They are staying with you, but you don't go to sleep when they are happy. Okay. Applause usually puts us to sleep, but it shouldn't. Applause should actually inspire you to keep on going. And of course, you have to look at yourself. Because I am naturally somebody that likes to push. I never get excited about one win. I'm always thinking, what else can we do? So I think that has definitely helped us as a brand.
Do you find the staff literally trying to catch their breath because just when they think they've done something and it's been applauded, then they are going on, so what's next? What's next? What was it?
Oh, I mean, I don't think so. I think because we carry them along, okay, so they never really get exhausted, like, oh my goodness, we've achieved this, now what next? They are also just as inspired. How can we do this? And we have an all-inclusive approach to doing business. And so, I mean, these are my frontliners. For example, when you come to the store, we share ideas, they bring insights, they make recommendations, and we listen because they have direct access to the clients. And so yes, they are actually the ones that are coming up with all the innovative ideas because they interface with clients.
Let's talk about innovation. I mean, I know you've done graduate studies with innovation at the very center of the conversation. By the way, how has it gone? The last time you met, you were doing some plenty Scooby. Tell me what
Which one? As entrepreneurs, you wake up every morning with some new idea. So now I don't even know which one to talk about.
Tell me about the role that adding on education has played in your journey as a CEO, just so your fans and your clients know the background investment you are making to improve yourself as you support them better.
So, Albert, thank you so much. So, education has played a key role. Before, when I had not done my MBA, for example, there was a certain way in which I thought naturally, and I remember right in the middle of school, I think it was after a particular session, I can't remember what, but it was around marketing, and I said to myself, somebody is taking my money. Somebody is taking my money. Yeah, something I heard because, I was sure I was serving the market, but there was a large chunk of the markets which I was not serving, I was not looking at. I felt, well, I don't need them and I'm fine where I am. But education enabled me to get enlightened about some of these things that I was not privy to. And it enabled me to strategize, innovate, and then continue to remain relevant. The second thing beyond studies that has helped me is mentorship. And I think it's so powerful. A lot of times we live in an info age, so we think we know it all. We've seen it all. Who can teach me what? But it's very important because you need someone who is looking at you, who is guiding you. We all need guides, okay? Not controllers. There's a difference. These are guys that are helping you to sort of navigate your way because they have been there. And there are certain things that you probably will not find in your business school book, but you will find from the lips of your mentor. And of course, reading and intentional following on social media. You just don't follow anyone who has fancy semantics. You need to be intentional about who you're following. So you yourself need to be well read so you can sort of discern which is for you and which isn't.
Let's talk about new knowledge. When something hits you fresh, especially if it provokes you and questions how you've done things in the past, what are your reactions? Do you feel elated? Do you feel challenged? Do you feel, how dare you? How do you feel when new knowledge hits you?
Oh, when new knowledge hits me, I get excited, Albert. I get so excited. I start dreaming of all the possibilities. I never feel like, oh, I'm late, I wish I had known. I just say this is the right time because don't forget, I'm a person of faith. And so I never really believe in luck or chances. I believe in timing, that this is divine. I had to know this at this time. And if I know it at this time, I can use it for good.
Tell me how faith has built strength in your leadership journey.
Oh, absolutely built a lot of strength in me. For example, I used to rely on myself. And I thought everything I had was because I worked for it and I strategized and I did schooling and I read a lot of books. But faith has really taught me a lot. Number one, it's humbled me. It's also made me understand that I'm not an owner, I'm a steward. And so if I'm a steward, there's a certain disposition that I need to have because I'm here to serve people. It also allows me to have a lot of integrity in doing business because sometimes, okay, when you don't have something that sort of buffers you or holds you and guides you and sits in your subconsciousness, you can almost get greedy. But if you understand that you're a steward and these are God's people that you're serving, number one, it's natural for you to be excellent. Number two, it's natural for you to be an honest business person. And I've never seen someone who has followed God and somehow has, failed. Now, failure, now I'm going to get philosophical. Failure is relative. What you may deem failure may not be necessarily failure to me. But as a person of faith, I understand that if this did not work, this probably was not for me. And so it gives me the audacity of hope to keep on pushing, knowing that, maybe God knows what he's doing. And Romans 8:28, I'm here trying to talk to
That's one of our favorite scriptures come for tonight.
No way.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Romans 8:28.
Wow.
On any day or night, you are there. Go ahead.
So all things work out for our good. It didn't say some things, it didn't say that thing, it said all things. So I think that has enabled me to remain patient, to remain humble, to remain teachable, and I've been able to, sort of drive that into the company's culture. And we would say we've been successful so far because we trust in something that is higher and is above us.
Do you find your colleagues being able to share that faith in God that you have?
My colleagues
Do you find
in the
them
industry,
also there's your staff, those who are around you, do you find them getting caught in the same faith that you have in God?
absolutely,
and how it drives you, the way you do things?
absolutely. It has trickling effects. Everything falls and rises on leadership, John Maxwell. And so as a leader, you need to understand that what you represent, has trickling effects on the people who are connected to you. So it's very important that you're intentional, again, with what you're representing. And they are very well aligned. In fact, there are some of them who are so driven by faith that it inspires me not to become complacent and not to lose hope when things become shaky, like it does for most entrepreneurs.
Talking about shaky, if I understand what you're saying that because you are anchored in your faith in God, something that somebody will call failure, maybe they've seen one setback, you will see it as God is still in the story, and therefore it may be down today, but there's something he's working on. And ultimately, per Romans 8:28, it works out for your good.
It works out for our good. It works out for our good, no matter how scary it looks. It does work out for our good. Even COVID worked out for our good. And so there are examples. So this is not just talk. These are things that we've experienced and have come to, deepen our trust that, oh, wow, we just need to trust God.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In everything you do, acknowledge him, and he will step by step direct your paths to that perfect end. This is Springboard, your virtual university. My guest, Gwen Addo, CEO of Hair Senta. Gwen is always great to have around, and whenever we get to meet, we just catch up and reflect. And I'm just excited about the leader you are becoming every day and the strength that you bring in whenever you come to these conversations. When we come back from the break, we're going to begin to explore every level of leadership and the attributes it requires, the demand it plays, and how you've responded to them in your journey. And the objective is to get somebody listening out there to say that, listen, I can pick something from Gwen and apply it to my life, especially for that my bias is always for the younger women who are also aspiring to do big things. And especially as we talk about women this month, my dream, my hope, my prayer is that a young woman starting out on a journey can hear you and say, you know what, I can also do this.
Amen.
And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I can sit on the show and say, I remember the show with Gwen? It just sparked me and here I am.
Amazing.
That would be heavenly, wouldn't it?
Amazing.
Springboard, your virtual university, brought to you by the Springboard Ratio Foundation in partnership with MTN Ghana, the Enterprise Group, and the Ghana Growth Program, with media support from Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News Television, and from our friends at Graphic. Please tune into the Springboard channel every single day. You will find the kind of content that will inspire you and bring out the best in you. When we come back from this break, let's listen to Gwen as she breaks down different levels of leadership and what it requires of you. Please don't go away.
Aye, 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 aye.
Everybody
Sorry for left.
Hey, you go explain tire.
Let's all join the ride to make our nation great and strong.
No stress. Submit your insurance claim online in just seconds on the Claims Express portal. Simply upload your national ID, cost estimates, pictures, and more to get started. Submit online, track progress, and get paid fast. Skip the paperwork and get back on the road with ease. Visit claimexpress.enterprisegroup.net.gh for easy claims and quick payouts with absolutely no stress.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university, and to our conversation on women in leadership. My guest, Gwen Addo. And if you are listening alone, text a friend, WhatsApp a friend, and say, join in the conversation as we explore the secrets of women in leadership and how you, whether you are male or female, can also glean from these ideas and lift yourself to the next level in your work. She's been sharing some very interesting insights so far. I will come back to them shortly. This is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation, our partners, Enterprise Group, MTN Ghana, and our media partners, the Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News Television, and the Springboard channel on YouTube. We also are in partnership with the Ghana Growth Program, which is a collaboration between Springboard Roadshow Foundation and our partners at the MasterCard Foundation. So let me share the enterprise tip with you for today. And I would like to remind you, if you are a young entrepreneur listening to this exciting conversation, that there's an opportunity for you with our partners launching the Enterprise Spotlight this week. Look out for it tomorrow. It's the national competition for young entrepreneurs aged between 18 and 40 who are building real businesses and want to test and scale your ideas to a bigger platform. So the selected applicants will go through a series of stages, beginning with an open call, then there will be interviews, and then live business presentations before experienced judges. When you get selected, it will make a difference in your life. It's open to men, women, and persons with disabilities, and it will reward courage, creativity, and determination. So if you are a business and you are building and you are listening to Springboard, your virtual university, look out for the Enterprise Spotlight and apply so we can celebrate your jump to the next level. Look out for the details right here on your virtual university. If you want to talk to Enterprise, call them on 030-263-4704. Email info.trustees@myenterprisegroup.io. Enterprise, your advantage. Gwen, let's come back to our conversation and talk about skill. As you move from the beginning, first part-time, then starting to do this full-time, and then scaling up, going international, the various stages. Help us to appreciate that transition, and then also the kind of leadership required at every level. It can't be the same as when it was just a small place without all the international connections. So help us to understand the transition to various levels and the difference, the demand it places on different aspects of your leadership.
Okay, so that I don't give you history, I'm going to sum it up. So I started in banking when I finished university, and it was great. But I knew this was not where I belonged, and so I started this business. I started it as a side hustle. Initially, I thought I was going to be able to keep my daytime job and somehow do this. Then it transitioned to become a full-time business where I moved. And initially when I started, I'd created a brand around myself, what I wanted, not what people wanted. And so eventually I started becoming people focused, and that's when the business opened up, when I began to really listen to people and what they wanted. Eventually we transitioned, we partnered with some foreign partners, and now we become a business which does wholesaling locally and internationally. And currently we're working on moving into our headquarters, which is going to be our HQ for Hair Senta. And we're going to sort of focus more on convenience, delivering to beef up our logistics and make sure that people really can have the experience without necessarily dragging themselves into the store. And don't forget, once you're climbing up, it also changes you as a leader, whether you like it or not, unless you're just someone that is oblivious to anything that's happening around you. Now I've begun to think about impact, because even though we were doing hair, there were many other companies that were watching us and were impacted by what we were doing. I mean, on social media, for example, now I receive all kinds of messages, people in different industries who have said, you know what, I watched what you did with the hair center, and it inspired me to do the same and even bigger with mine. And personally also, I think it's built me as a leader. I've become a more responsible leader, and I lead with intentionality because I know there are people that are watching and learning. And I think the journey has really shaped me to become something I never actually saw coming. I felt I was just going to be in the business of trading hair extensions, but now we're opening up and we're going to have franchise models all over the place where we're actually using our own internal customers, that is the people that are in there, to lead some of these initiatives.
Nice summary. So people focused, and then you talked about you started by doing what you thought the market needed.
Yes.
Then you became more people focused, and that changed the business. Then you began to do partnerships. Then as you climbed, it changed you, and you became a different kind of leader because you realized you're having impact across industries. And then ultimately you say that you look back now and you realize that it's gone way beyond what you set out to do with hair. Should that be the natural trajectory of leadership?
I believe it should, but it will not happen by itself. You need to be intentional with it. A lot of times people ask me this question, that Gwen, what do you eventually want to become or to be known for? And I said, I want to be known for social transformation. So, I mean, if your aim is to socially transform, okay, a nation or a place or a people, it's going to come through your interaction with those people. Now, God gave me the platform of hair, which enabled me to interact with women from all walks of life. Now that is an opportunity. I can use that opportunity for good, or I can abuse it. He said that our gifts will make room for us. I'm a people's person. And so it's never really difficult for me to connect with people. So here I am looking at the opportunity that I have of people, of a business, and of being able to use my people centricity for good and to lead people and to cause people to shift. And it's a very powerful opportunity I have, and I want to really use it to drive social transformation, especially the mindset of our youth.
That's very interesting. Let's explore what happens when you step into a big meeting, maybe an international platform, meeting international partners. You're like, hey, I mean, do you ever find that yourself addressing or connecting with people at the very highest level and pinching yourself and saying, how did I get here?
Yes, absolutely. Because don't forget, I was very timid. I did Miss Malaika, and I remember there were so many people that voted for me to win. And in fact, I remember after the pageant, I went into town and I was with my mom. And there was this woman who saw me, and then there were a couple of them actually who said, hey, Ubei, you voting man with disappointing.
Oh.
Yes. And that sort of stayed with me. So I was so depressed. I remember my speech was on coup d'etat and how it happens. I had chewed it and I was ready to pour. But as I started pouring, I don't know what happened, but somehow I remember seeing some lady in white. I know it's dramatic, but she was just going up and down, and I missed one word. And you know how these things work.
Chewed it in.
I had chewed. So one word gone, everything broke down.
This is Aristotle.
Yes. So it really made me depressed, and I think it had a huge effect on my confidence. And I really felt, because before that, I had that, inkling within me that I was not great as other people. And then I go and do Miss Malaika, where I felt I was going to redeem myself, and then I go and bomb. So
Did you bomb?
I thought I did at the time, but for some reason, you will not believe, after the opportunities that came.
What stage did you get to?
I was just in top 5.
So you're in the final.
I was in the final, but because of my vote, I actually got the highest vote.
So why do you
for
think
that.
you bombed?
Because our subconsciousness is very powerful. I'd always placed it in there somewhere that I was not good enough, I was not qualified to win. So even though people said they were voting for me, I had the conviction that I was not going to win. And so it's very powerful what you believe about yourself, because it has power to manifest. We're very powerful. We're image bearers. Okay, there's so much power that we carry. So what we believe has power.
If it was now, you wouldn't think like that at all.
Of course not. I would go in there and launch out. So, growth, exposure, mentorship, intentional learning has really helped me a lot.
Think about opportunities after that.
Yes.
I wanted to hear that one.
Oh, so many opportunities. I had Face of GTP that was in other African countries. Right after, I think a week or two after Miss Malika, where I flopped. After Miss Malika, I got the visibility that I needed. I later connected with different people who did not think I bombed and said, you know what?
Neither do I.
And, it gave me an exposure. So sometimes, when you think you have failed, there's actually something in there that makes you understand that actually it was a gain. It was a gain in that storm. Only you did not see it like that.
At that time, you didn't know Romans 8:28.
I had no idea what it was. We won't go to church. We were that kind of family where we wake up and say, oh, today we won't go to church. And that time there was no virtual. So if we don't go to church, we don't go to church. And I remember when this Methodist, church, they make so many announcements. And by the time we just get tired. So as a family, we're not really excited about going to church.
So we should reduce announcements. Well noted. So here we are in 2026, talking about women in leadership, talking about gift to gain, talking about intentionality, talking about learning, talking about ownership. These themes, bringing them together and addressing that young person starting out on their journey. If there's one thing I've picked from you tonight, you're saying that what you consider a flop, a setback, could actually be a springboard, a stepping stone to something bigger. Let's talk about the intentionality of a person who begins. What will be the non-negotiable for you when a person begins their journey with all the uncertainty and with all the questions that they have? What will be the building blocks from where you sit of anyone who will make it to the top?
Number one, you have to understand that no business, I'll speak from the business perspective, no business should be centered around you. Okay, that's not a way to build. If you're going to think long term, you need to be people centric. You need to focus on people. You need to also understand that you're not an owner, you're a steward. It's very important. You see, one of the mistakes that I made in the beginning was I felt I had the answers to what people needed, but we don't. And number two, I also felt like what we discussed before, that, sometimes you feel some people are old school. Things are different now. I don't need this kind of advice. We need to be teachable. You can't start a business or you can't launch out into leadership and forget teachability. It goes hand in hand. And what is teachability? It's a desire to learn and a willingness to change. So yes, we have a desire to win. We have a desire to do well. But do we have the willingness to change and to transform and to, let some things that we're currently doing that is not working go? There are businesses or there are things that people have started today. They are not working, but because of what people will think, they are not letting it go. There are things that we should be able to do, but because of lack of confidence, we're not launching out to do it. There are things that we should subscribe to and we think is so removed from us. You look at AI and the future of work, for example, there are people that are sitting by and saying, this does not concern me. Okay, but there are opportunities within AI. There are opportunities like AI managers, there are opportunities for you to use AI on your day-to-day. And there's also the opportunity for you to be replaced by AI because you refuse to act. So it's very important for us to, number one, just be humble enough so our eyes will be open, because when we sit on our high horses, we get blinded. And unfortunately around here, the hype is too much. We applaud mediocrity. So it's a lot of things that happens to us where we think, well, we know it all when we really don't. So we need to subscribe to something that is higher than us.
I read the World Economic Forum report quite a bit. Every year, every time it comes out, I read and look at what changes are taking place in the world, what is predicting about technology, what is predicting about the skills that one would need to remain relevant. And apart from emotional intelligence, it highlights things like flexibility. And that's what you seem to be suggesting, that you need to be flexible, you need to be adaptable. So it's been done this way, but listen, there are better ways to do things.
Absolutely.
What makes us stuck in the mold sometimes?
That's a very deep question. What makes us get stuck? First of all, Albert, the simple way to say it is, you need to get over yourself. I need to get over myself. Okay, it's cultural, it's social. There's a lot of factors that creates this situation that we currently have. But I think what really will help us is to be intentional and focus on what is happening around the world and not just what is happening around us. Because whatever is happening out there has trickling effects on us. Look at us. We're still very import dependent. I mean, we're still having a lot of goods, even with what we're doing. The raw material is not from here. So whether we like it or not, what is happening globally will have trickling effects on us. And so we need to start to look beyond ourselves if we're going to be able to stand or remain relevant in the long term. Otherwise, history is going to repeat itself. The other day, I think you were at that conference where I was saying that a lot of times you have economists and all kinds of people saying that the future is in Africa, the future is what, and we're all very excited about it. We see what happens where we have a plethora of people come here, in December to have fun or to do some business. But the real question is, are we participating in this grand future that they are talking about? Or we're just sitting down and thinking that's what we know, amamre and sasa, what we know works is what will work. And we've done this for too long. And leadership is a deficit that we have. Trust is also an issue that we have. Because we have trust issues, we're not able to collaborate with excellence so that we'll be able to, sort of drive or bask in what excellence does in terms of transformation.
So if you stood before a group of young women, let's say in a university, a secondary school, what will you be telling them about how to participate, especially in this predicted African or Ghanaian future that is being described?
Innovation. You need to understand that if I'm in secondary school, I'm not in charge of my curriculum. Okay, the school is. And that's why I talk about leadership all the time. So what kinds of schools do we have here? Does it drive innovation? That's number one. What kind of schools do we drive here? Does it allow us to even think? Because sometimes the system is designed such that you are not even able to think. All you need to do is sit down and you're given. Sit down and receive, sit down and receive. But what are you going to receive? You're going to receive the perception or the beliefs of other people. And so there's a lot of things that have to change. I mean, what you're doing with Springboard University, for example, is excellent because what you're doing is you're sort of rewiring the mindset of people and skewing them towards something that they are not seeing. We cannot leave it only to the educational system. We all sit on social media. The question is, how are you using social media? What can you potentially do with it that when that student is exposed to it, in spite of what they have learned in school, they will be inspired to be different?
When it comes to social media in a minute, but you know what, I was speaking to my son in Shura last night. I said, what's your favorite subject? And he told me, I asked him why. He says, it's that course that when you come in, the maximum the lecturer will speak is 10 minutes. Ooh. So what does he do? He just sets exercises and things for us, and then we are debating the issue and we are engaging, and he says, I love it. I say, okay, I think I know, knowing you the way I do, no wonder you like that subject, but it struck me about learning style. Yeah. And he says, the lecturer doesn't tell us the whole time what the subject is. He just sets the agenda, then throws an exercise to us, and we are exploring it ourselves. And he says, I feel so empowered and energized. We should be reflecting on how we communicate in our mentoring, in our teaching, in our guiding and coaching of younger people, that they doing will retain much more learning than they being told. Let's go to social media. You are very big in the digital space. Tell us about effective use and what you've learned along the line.
Okay, so since you're a pastor, we're going to take it from your standpoint.
Should I write news?
You know, in the past, you would find people walking in the sun with their Bible, door to door, knocking, the word of God, trying to come into your home, doing all kinds of things. I mean, some of it still happens to an extent. But today, you have a platform that exposes you to so many people, thousands of people. Whether you have 300 people following you or you have 30 people following you, if you're able to check out your views, you would realize that even though you have 30 people following you, your video can potentially get 300, thousands of views. My question is, what are you doing with those views? So we have platforms that we can use to drive good, we can use to drive transformation, and we're not doing that. I saw an opportunity on social media earlier. I built my entire brand, Hair Senta, leveraging on social media. We don't do any kind of traditional marketing, except for some billboards here and there. We focus mainly on social media, and we're able to drive people. We've been able to build that visibility. We've been able to be perceived or seen as a trusted brand. All of that using that medium. And so I think it's so powerful that we can use it for good, but we can also abuse it. And I have just decided I'm going to use it for good, and I'm able to, receive all the feedback, stories, people that are going through divorce. I mean, they just sat on the page and they were just reading captions after caption, and they've been able to deal with some really difficult issues in their lives. So I think social media is a blessing, and it should make room for you and I.
The last time I sat with a digital media strategist, he told me more about how companies have moved away from being very direct in their engagement on the platforms. So yes, they sell this and that, but they're not always talking about this. They create a very interesting spread, and somehow it comes back to what they sell, and they still sell, but the engagement and conversation spreads way beyond the center product. Is that your strategy as well?
Well, I think one strategy does not fit all. Okay. Now, when it comes to what we do, yes, we realize that educational videos are great. People like to learn. So anything that enables them to pick up something, they are interested in it. We always need to establish this fact that humans are selfish. Anything that enables them to survive and they thrive, they want to subscribe to it naturally. It's not about us. So whenever we're marketing, we position it selfishly to serve what we know they desire. And once we do that, we realize we get the traction and then they buy. Now, a lot of times we think why I said one size does not fit all is we look at Alberts doing that. Maybe they are using storytelling in their strategy, and then we go and use that. But maybe you're following the demographics, okay? They are not interested in your stories. They just want to see it, they like it, they buy it. And so what you should be placing on your caption is a picture, what it does for them, how much it is, and how they can contact you. Done. So you need to ask yourself, who are you? Who are the kinds of people that follow you? And how can you serve them better? If you don't ask some of these, W and H questions, you're going to mix it. And that's what I see is happening to a lot of brands, where they think just because these guys are doing that and they are winning at it, well, we're going to do the same. A lot of times people do not even press like on our pages, but they are in our DMs placing their order because they just wanted it and they don't have time for your storytelling. So do what works for you. Do what works for you. And you need to research and do some, questioning and analysis to be able to know which one is the right fit for your brand.
As we wrap up this conversation about women in leadership, tell me about a time when you felt inadequate as a leader and how you resolved it.
So many times. But one, I'll talk about the recent one. As a leader, when you're doing everything in your power, especially when it comes to staff retention, and you think everything is working out well, and somehow it doesn't, and then you lose some of the staff members for reasons that you can't sort of pinpoint to, it can sort of break you and make you feel, am I
on the right track?
On the right track. You start questioning yourself. But I also think in hindsight that it's good Those things need to happen because we're humans. Complacency can get in the way, and sometimes we really can think that we're great leaders. But leaders who are great are the ones that keep learning. They are not the ones that have, a strategy that works and they believe they can use it for hundreds of years. No, they need to keep learning because people keep on changing. People are not static. Today their emotions are this. So I think that experience of making me feel inadequate as a leader actually has got me learning more and has also enabled me to be more focused in how I invest in my people. Okay, yeah.
So your solution was to focus a bit more on investment.
Oh yes, investing in my people, opening up my eyes and seeing who probably I was ignoring because I was more focused on some people. I felt, oh, these guys are good. These guys, I'm going to carry them to the next level. We're going to do mighty things. But I realized that even though they were absent, the engine was still running. So I went back and looked at the people who were quiet and who looked like they were not participating to find out that, wow, these are the people that are driving the engine. So to every leader that is listening to me, it's very important for you to always look closely because in there are different kinds of people. So you can't look at someone and just because they are assertive, it doesn't mean much. Who is delivering?
Who have you become on this journey as a result of everything you described today?
Oh, number one, it's humbled me, for sure. It's humbled me. It's also built my audacity. Now I have more audacity. It's also given me a lot of confidence. I am not the old Gwen who was shy or who would not take on challenges. I loved being in my corner. It served me right. But I think all of these experiences have shaped me, even the bad ones. And it's created this Gwen that I love and this Gwen that I'm willing to explore and learn more about. And of course, this Gwen that I want to make sure is investing in her self-development. So it never stops. I'm always looking at ways in which I can get better.
5 years from now?
5 years from now, I want to be known for social transformation.
10 years from now?
10 years from now, I'm not thinking inheritance, I'm thinking heritage, which is character. Okay, a lot of times we're looking at inheritance. What am I leaving? What am I doing? What am I gaining? All those are material. I'm looking at heritage. What characters have emerged from my leadership? Character formation is so important. I raise that highly over skill.
20 years from now?
20 years from now, how old would I be?
They say never ask a woman her age.
Yes, but just transformation, impact.
Yeah.
Impact and transformation. It's more rewarding to me, especially for the younger ones. Yeah.
At a glance, what do you consider an authentic person?
An authentic person. Let me give an example from the Bible. Barnabas is an authentic influencer. Why is he an authentic influencer? Let's check out the story of Paul. Paul was not accepted by the church, of course, of his history and all of those things. It was Barnabas, okay, the encourager, who encouraged the church to accept him, who encouraged him to see who he was. And so whenever I think about authentic leadership, I think of Barnabas. I think of somebody who is an encourager. And I would like to believe that I am an encourager and that makes my leadership authentic. That's not centered around me. It moves beyond me to others.
Many would have gone for Abraham, many would have gone for David, many would have gone for Joseph, many would have gone for Esther. You went for Barnabas. And that's the Gwen that I know will look where no one else looks and pull out something special. As always, it's been an amazing conversation with you, Gwen. Just reminding ourselves of the things that matter beyond our day-to-day bread. And it's another installment in our Women in Leadership conversation as we mark our International Women's Month, not day. One day is not enough. A whole month dedicated to women. Just look into this camera and talk to that person who says, this is the day the Lord has made. I'm so happy I heard this. Talk to them to wrap up this conversation.
If you're listening to this, I don't think you found this by mistake. And I'm hoping that you've picked up something that will help you. It's very important for you to understand that you're an image bearer and God does not create rubbish. So you're valuable and he has given you a gift and he says his gift will make room for you. So you need to have that conviction and don't let the world define who you are. Don't let your boss define who you are. Anytime you're unsure of who you are, I want you to go back to the word. Anytime you're unsure of who you are, I want you to look at the people that you know are authentic influencers. Listen to the things that they're saying, read their captions, read their books, go to the Springboard and, watch some of these videos, because God has made you for great things. So don't settle. And I want you to understand that 10 years, 5 years from now, you're not going to be in the same place, especially if you're taking action. You can write all the notes that you want, but if you don't take action, it is not going to happen. And that action will require intentionality. And whenever you're serving people, I want you to understand that you're not serving merely to gain. You're serving because you're a steward. And that is what you're called to be. You're called to serve others. And that is the way you honor God. And when you honor God, God also honors you. And I love you.
Absolutely. When you honor God, God definitely will honor you. And these are the thoughts of Gwen. Thank you so much, Gwen, for coming. Let's do this again, as always.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you.
So this has been another Springboard, your virtual university, as we continue exploring women in leadership. We've spoken about Give to Gain, which is the theme for this celebration for the whole month. We've also spoken about not just the generosity, but also collaboration with other people. We've spoken about intentionality, Gwen's favorite word, and she says every thought, every action must be deliberately curated to achieve the impact that you desire. We've talked about learning, we've talked about impact, but most importantly, we've talked about faith as well. Wherever you are listening to us, we trust this has been a blessing to you. Springboard has been brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Enterprise Group, MTN Ghana, and the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between Mastercard Foundation and Springboard. Our media partners, Joy FM, Joy News Television, and the Graphic Communications Group. And all these amazing episodes can be found on the Springboard channel on YouTube. Please go like, share, and your life will never be the same again. My name is Albert, saying God bless you, and God bless you.
Aye, 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 aye. Sorry for left.
Hey, you gonna explain tire?
Let's all join the ride to make our nation great and strong.
No stress. Submit your insurance claim online in just seconds on the Claims Express portal. Simply upload your national ID, cost estimates, pictures, and more to get started. Submit online, track progress, and get paid fast. Skip the paperwork and get back on the road with ease. Visit claimexpress.enterprisegroup.net.gh for easy claims and quick payouts with absolutely no stress.
Enterprise, your advantage.